James sat on the old wooden bench outside his house, staring at the golden hues of the setting sun. Life had been kind to him in some ways. He had a flourishing career and a large house, but his heart was restless. At 38, he often felt an emptiness he couldn't explain. Something was missing. One day, James' childhood friend, Daniel, came to visit. Daniel had been happily married for 10 years and always spoke highly of his wife, Ruth. James listened as Daniel talked about her warmth, wisdom, and unwavering support. It wasn't the first time he had heard these stories, but this time, James asked something he had never asked before. "Daniel, how did you find someone like Ruth? Someone so complete?" Daniel smiled and leaned back in his chair. "James, I didn't find Ruth. The Lord gave her to me." James frowned. "What do you mean?" Daniel pulled out his Bible from his bag and flipped to Proverbs 18 verse 22. "Here," he said, reading aloud, "He who finds a wife finds what is good and receives favor from the Lord. Ruth is a gift, James. I prayed, waited, and trusted God to bring the right person into my life. Without him, I would have been lost." James nodded thoughtfully but didn't say much. That night, he lay awake, replaying Daniel's words in his mind. He decided to do something he hadn't done in years: pray. "Lord," he whispered, "I don't even know how to ask. But if what Daniel said is true, please guide me. If you have someone for me, help me find her." Months passed. James focused on his relationship with God, attending church regularly and reading the Bible. One Sunday, after service, he met Grace. She was kind, soft-spoken, and had a radiant smile that seemed to light up the room. Over time, James got to know her better. She was hardworking, caring, and wise beyond her years. James couldn't help but think of Proverbs 31 verse 10. Asterisk, "A wife of noble character who can find? She is worth far more than rubies." Asterisk, Grace embodied those words. She was not just a partner but a blessing, helping James grow in ways he never thought possible. Her words were full of encouragement, her actions full of love. Eventually, James realized he had found what he had prayed for. On the day he proposed, he looked into her eyes and said, "You are everything I prayed for and more. I thank God for leading me to you." Grace smiled and replied, "A good wife is a gift from God, James. I'm glad he brought us together." Years later, as they sat together watching the sunset, James couldn't help but reflect on the journey. Life still had its challenges, but with Grace by his side, it was full of joy, strength, and purpose. She was truly his partner, his helper, his treasure.
Friends, have you ever felt a deep longing in your heart? A sense that something vital is missing, even when the world tells you have it all? Our story today is about James, a man who discovered that true fulfillment comes not from worldly success alone, but from a divine connection and a God-given partnership. James sat on that old wooden bench, the setting sun painting the sky in hues of gold and orange. He had the career, the house, the outward signs of success. Yet, a gnawing emptiness persisted. He was 38, a time when many reflect on their lives, and James felt a void he couldn't quite define. This verse speaks to the very heart of James's struggle. He had pursued the things of this world, but they left him wanting more. He was chasing the wind, a fleeting satisfaction that never truly satisfies. Then, his childhood friend Daniel visited. Daniel, happily married for a decade, spoke of his wife Ruth with genuine love and admiration. It wasn't just flowery words. It was a deep-seated appreciation for her character, her wisdom, her unwavering support. James, intrigued, asked Daniel a question that had been stirring in his heart. "How did you find someone like Ruth?" "James, I didn't find Ruth. The Lord gave her to me." This is a powerful truth. Marriage, a sacred union, is not merely a human endeavor. It's a divine gift. It's a blessing bestowed by God upon those who seek Him. Daniel understood this. He knew that his marriage to Ruth was a testament to God's grace and provision. James, though thoughtful, didn't fully grasp it at the time. But that night, something shifted within him. He did something he hadn't done in years. He prayed. A simple, heartfelt plea. "Lord, if what Daniel said is true, Please guide me. If you have someone for me, help me find her. This is the crucial turning point. James didn't just desire a relationship. He sought God's guidance in finding it. He turned to the source of all blessings, acknowledging his need for divine intervention. This is a lesson for all of us. When we seek God first, He directs our paths. James began to nurture his relationship with God. He attended church, read the Bible, and opened his heart to spiritual growth. And in God's perfect timing, he met Grace. Grace was everything James had unknowingly longed for. Kind, soft-spoken, with a radiant smile, she embodied true inner beauty. As James got to know her, he saw her hard-working nature, her caring heart, and a wisdom that belied her years. Grace was not just a partner, she was a blessing, a catalyst for growth in James's life. Her words were encouraging, her actions were loving. She was a true reflection of God's grace. James, recognizing the divine hand in their meeting, proposed. He acknowledged that Grace was an answer to his prayers, a gift from God. And Grace, understanding the sacredness of their union, affirmed that God had brought them together. Years later, as they sat together, watching another sunset, James reflected on their journey. Life hadn't been without its challenges, but with Grace by his side, it was filled with joy, strength, and purpose. She was his partner, his helper, his treasure. This verse reveals God's intention for companionship. He created Eve as a helper suitable for Adam, a partner to walk alongside him in life. This is the beauty of a God-ordained relationship. Two individuals united in purpose, supporting and uplifting one another. Friends, James's story reminds us that true fulfillment is found not in worldly possessions, but in a relationship with God and in the God-given relationships He blesses us with. If you are longing for companionship, seek God first. Trust in His timing and His perfect plan for your life. He knows the desires of your heart, and He promises to provide for those who seek Him. Remember, a good spouse is a gift from God, a treasure beyond measure. Seek Him, trust Him, and allow Him to lead you to the blessings He has in store. Amen.